songs, let me tell you about a friend. It's Craig LeBlanc, where the good times never end. Talking Parks and Rec, it's a show you gotta know. Welcome one and all to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. It's the Daily Parks and Rec Show.
I would say like the key aspect of the branch in general is to, gain the input, get our young professionals to get involved and passionate about what the Parks and Recreation field is in general. Getting them to actually commit, see that this is a career that would definitely be great for your entire career path. We help with, bridging the gap with the communication for not only just younger professionals, but also, the generation that we are going to soon replace.
All right, this is Craig LeBlanc with the Daily Parks and Rec Show. This is the Young Professionals Network show every Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern time, all for young professionals. So now we are part of the DPRS Media Network. We're a whole family of shows all focused on Parks and Recreation. But today's show is specifically focused on the young professionals. And so what do I mean by young professionals? If you are a college kid and you are pursuing a degree, maybe you're taking Parks and Rec classes, or if you're a professor that teaches Parks and Rec, we have those on as guests as well. Also, if you're within your first 1 to 5 years of being in Parks and Rec, and then the other audience we hit is if you have a great internship program. So if you have a Parks and Rec department, you have a strong internship program, or also if you're an intern with a Parks and Rec department. That's the whole kind of population that fits in this bucket of Young Professionals Network. And so a big shout out to Gabby Vera. Met with Marcus this morning, her superintendent. She was the one that told me and introduced me, her and Molly Keys, to the Young Professionals Network, and that kind of started the show. So really appreciate that. So special guest today, we have Sydney from Schertz, Texas. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. She'll probably correct me as soon as she gets on stage with me. But before we get started, we want to give a big shout out to everybody that helped us get past the 500th episode. We created a promo for that. So Joby, why don't you go ahead and run that, and we'll come right back and start our conversation with Sydney.
It didn't start with a big studio. It didn't start with a massive audience. It started with a simple idea. One conversation, one camera, one episode. Back then, DPRS Media Network was just a vision. No guarantees, no roadmap, just a purpose. To tell stories that mattered. Stories from the Parks and Recreation community. Stories of leadership, passion, impact, and the people making a difference every single day. Episode by episode, that vision began to grow. More conversations, more voices, more people who believed in what we were building. What started as a show became something much bigger. A place where people felt seen, a place where ideas were shared, a place where the Parks and Rec community could connect, learn, and inspire one another. And today, we celebrate a major milestone. 500 episodes, 500 stories, 500 moments, 500 reasons to keep moving forward. But this is not the finish line. This is the beginning of our next chapter. In the months ahead and in the years to come, DPRS Media Network is growing into something even greater. We are building something truly special for the Parks and Recreation community. Something designed to bring people closer, to create stronger connections, to open new opportunities, and to continue serving the people who inspire everything we do. We are also expanding our reach through new partnerships, working with organizations who believe in our mission, partners who share our vision for community, leadership, and impact. And beyond the screen, we're showing up in more places than ever before, attending conferences, meeting leaders face-to-face, building connections that strengthen our community. Because DPRS has never been just about content. It has always been about connection. To everyone who has been with us, from episode 1 to episode 500, thank you. This milestone belongs to all of you. Here's to how it all started. And here's to everything still to come. The future of DPRS Media Network starts now.
All right. Welcome to the. How are you doing?
I am great. How are you doing?
Fantastic. Did I pronounce the city name correct?
You did, yes. The City of Schertz, and we are in
City of
Texas.
Schertz.
Yes.
Where is it located in Texas?
It is just north of San Antonio and right below New Braunfels.
Oh, y'all like in the hot spot.
Yeah. It's kind of one of those where like you leave San Antonio, you blink, and then you're in New Braunfels.
Oh, nice.
We're pretty tiny, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to how you got into Parks and Rec. Were you involved as a child in Parks and Rec, or did you kind of discover this later in life?
I was not a Parks and Rec kiddo. No, I didn't discover Parks and Recreation at all until my college, my seasonal camp counselor job when I was in college. Before that, I was really just, if I was out of school, I went to my grandma's house. And so we played with kids while at grandma's house and whatnot. So we were always there. And so, yeah, once I discovered it though in college, I was like, wow, this is a whole thing. I don't know how I had no idea about Parks and Recreation at all until that point.
Now, was this just your counselor that kind of did some assessment of your likes, dislikes, skills, and said, "Hey, you might be a good fit for Parks and Rec"?
No, like I was a camp counselor as like a seasonal job throughout college. So like in the summertime, I would go work at I was working in New Braunfels for Camp Minnehaha.
Okay.
And so that, I think my first year was after my freshman year of college. Yeah, my dad was like, all right, you need to go find a summer job, go do something. And so I saw a friend that was posting about camp counselor positions in New Braunfels, and it wasn't too far from me. And so I was like, let me give it a try. At that point in my life, I had no patience for kids though. So I was like, well, we'll see how this works out. But after the summer, I loved it, and I went back for another 5 summers.
My goodness. So what was attractive to you about that first summer for you?
I think just the whole camp aspect in general. Summer camp is so fun. I was pretty envious of the kids that were attending our summer camp, because I was like, this is so much fun. Like, I wish I had the opportunity to experience this as I was kind of growing up as well. Not to take away from being at my grandmother's house, because I absolutely loved and cherished over there. But it was just a whole nother thing. And so, just seeing how the kids were enjoying all of the activities that we had, the camaraderie with my other camp counselors that I was working with at the time. And then each year that we went back, I was seeing that most of us were returners as counselors. And so you build that connection and those relationships with your coworkers. And so it makes you want to keep going back as well. And so all of that together, it was just so fun. So fun.
So for those that haven't attended or staffed one, what was your day-to-day like during that first summer camp? What were some of the jobs they gave you?
Summer camp is very hectic. So especially over at Landhouse in New Braunfels. And so our rec facility was pretty tiny, and we had a ton of kids. So we had, I think it was 10 different, we called them tribes at the time, but there's group names. And within each group, you had anywhere from 15 to 18 kids. And so we would, kind of go into work. We would do our like opening duties and stuff and get ready for the kids to arrive. Kids would arrive. We would have about maybe like 45 minutes ish as we waited for all of the kids to arrive. And it was just kind of like an open play. And then we would go into a little warm up where we did camp songs with the kids just to get them, engaged and ready for the day, get them woken up. And then we would break off into our groups, and we would have a little activity list of different activities or places that we would go. So for those that haven't been to Landa Park, which is where we were at, we were able to use the entire park that we had there. So there were multiple playgrounds. There was a hiking path that we could go. There was, paddle boats. We had mini golf. And then, of course, we had our actual rec facility where we did, crafts. We did gym games and all of that. So we had a lot of space to utilize. And so just depending on whatever was on the schedule that day, we would go about our schedule, break for lunch, go back at it. And then at the end of the day, we would all kind of come together for an all camp event, which was really cool because that's how we got all of the kids together. So the older kids and the younger kids, and we were all kind of just like interacting. And that's kind of how we ended the day as parents would come and, pick up the kids.
And what were the age groups that y'all were?
I think the youngest was, oh gosh, they were tiny.
Oh, like kindergarten or something?
4 or 5, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then the oldest we went to, I think, was like 12, 13.
Yeah. Did y'all have anything for teens back then, or that was a different program?
Not necessarily, not for at least the first couple of years, I believe, that I was there. But as I think it was maybe like my second or third year, we started having CITs, counselors in training. And so we would allow, the kids that went through the program and aged out, they would always want to, come back in some sort of way or fashion. So we would invite them back as a counselor in training, and they would be assigned to one of the groups and just be an extra set of hands, essentially. So
that's probably the youngest young professionals coming in with the training.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So, what was your first full-time gig in Parks and Rec?
My first full-time one was with the City of San Antonio. I was a community center leader, and that's essentially kind of just like a programmer. So we created all of these different programs that then got dispersed into the different community centers that were in San Antonio. And at the time, I believe it was 18 different community centers whenever I was there. So we had 3 different, we called them pods. We had a Teen Nature Science. There we go. Sorry, that was like a few years ago. Teen Nature Science, and that was the pod that I was assigned. And so I did, most of my programs were geared towards those kind of topics. And then we had an arts and education, I believe, and then a sports and fitness pod. And then, of course, they gave us the freedom to where if I had like a passion for one of these activities or programs, and it was maybe like an art program, I still had the ability to, kind of create that program and use it as well. I wasn't just kind of pigeonholed to teen nature and science.
What were some of
so that was where I started.
You said y'all had stuff for like performing art or visual art or stuff like that?
It was arts and education. And so most of those programs were like art programs where we do like, I'm trying to think. I wasn't in that pod, so it's kind of hard to remember those aspects. But I think there's some really cool, like learning how to graffiti on like a canvas and stuff like that. The education parts were maybe some of them were learning, like for toddler programs and stuff like that, sensory programs and whatnot. But yeah, that's kind of what that was kind of like you learn to draw and stuff.
Yeah. So what were some of the early skills that you realized you needed to develop within yourself that first year?
Within myself, I would say prioritizing and being organized for sure. Because the programs that we were responsible for developing whenever I was working as a programmer for the city of San Antonio, um, we weren't the ones actually facilitating those programs. It was going into the community center, and the rec instructors that were in the community centers were facilitating these programs. So we had to make sure that we were being very clear and concise with what our curriculum was for the program. And so that was a very big thing that I learned how to do, and definitely helps me with where I am at right now as well, because I'm still kind of doing the exact same thing, plus a little bit more. But yeah, so essentially just being like very clear and concise and direct with my explanations, and definitely, prioritizing, making sure that the ones facilitating feel seen and heard if they had any concerns about facilitating said program or anything like that, making sure that they felt that they were ready to facilitate it as well. Those were some things that I definitely had to learn, early on.
Yeah. Now, how long were you at that position?
I'm sorry?
How long were you there? In San Antonio?
In San Antonio, I was there for 3 years. I spent 2 as a programmer and then 1 as a supervisor of one of those facilities.
And then did you move from there to where you are today, or was there another spot between there?
I did. No, yeah, I moved from there straight to here.
Now, what caused the shift of the move?
So I mentioned working with the city of New Braunfels whenever I was doing my seasonal summer camps and whatnot. My last 2 years there, I was last 2 summers in New Braunfels, I was the camp coordinator over the summer camp. And my boss, her name is Cassie, and I'm pretty sure she's been on your show before.
Okay.
She's my recreation manager here. But we worked together. She was my boss over there in New Braunfels. And so when she made the jump to come over to Schertz, they created my position brand new. And she was like, hey, I think I know somebody that would be perfect for this role. And she contacted me, and, we kind of talked about it, and I came on over.
Man, and so how long have you been there?
About 3 years now, yeah.
How's it going?
It's pretty amazing. I've learned a lot, and not just in like my role, but like as in getting to know a lot about our state association and God, what is it called? National Association. Yeah. There we go. Couldn't think of the word. Yeah. Couldn't think of the word.
So what does your day-to-day look like as a rec coordinator?
It could look like many things. No one day is the same. And so some days, especially during the school year, sometimes I'll be facilitating programs. Sometimes I'll be facilitating our adult social leagues. Some days are very office and admin heavy, where I'm creating programs. I am planning for some of our city events. I'm working on marketing, developing content for our seasonal guides that we have come out. And so no day looks the same. So it's a lot of things, but for the most part, I come in, and it's a lot of planning. A lot of planning, especially now that we're about to hit into summertime. There's so much going on right now.
So what have you learned about marketing? Do you use like social media, or use Canva to kind of produce stuff, or how do you kind of get your marketing material out there?
Yeah, so it's mainly, I would say, I first dabbled in doing social media posts, so like Facebook and Instagram. I dabbled in that first, and then as I've kind of been here, I've been getting a little bit more and more responsibilities regarding that. And so now it's kind of changed to developing content for our seasonal guide, like I mentioned, that has all of our programs and events listed for that specific season. And then also we have a monthly magazine that comes out in Schertz to all of our residents. I'll develop content for that as well. just happenings for the month and what we've got going on.
Hmm. Now, I wrote down here that you're passionate about community experience. Can you explain that a little bit?
Definitely. I would say community experience is probably the main reason I'm even in this field to begin with. Just going out and seeing kids have fun and enjoying the programs and the events that we have. But not even just the kids, the adults too that I come into contact with our adult social leagues, seeing them and just hearing them come back and telling me, I'm so glad that you're offering this. Thank you so much for, putting your time into this. And so seeing how much they truly enjoy it and how much it's really impacting their life, because they're not only connecting and getting out there for themselves, they're meeting other people in the community. And so that's kind of really what it's all about, getting the community to engage with each other at whatever event or program that I may be at.
Hmm. Now, what's the total age range that you're working with right now as a rec coordinator? What kind of, or how would you describe doing a job post for your position? What would it be?
Oh, I don't think we could kind of put it to an age range. I'm doing programs for toddlers. We have 3 to 5-year-old programs that we're doing in the summer now. I have things for school age kids. I do things for teens. I have adult. I just finished up an adult archery class that we were doing for the month of April. And so that was 18 and over. I also did an archery class just specifically for seniors. So it's not really like just one age group. It's kind of it's all ages. Yeah. Absolutely.
So how do you, when you think about the program you offer, do you kind of get input from the community as to what they want, and then what's kind of the roadmap to start a new program?
I do, yeah. So when I first started, we didn't really have much community programming other than the things that we had with partner organizations such as our Master Naturalists. So I didn't have much really to go by. So I was just kind of throwing things at the wall to see what would stick. And as I've kind of gone through these few years with being here, I build relationships with people that I see come out to most of our events and programs and stuff and ask for their input. And that's where I kind of, I realized that we have a very big homeschool population here. So now I'm doing a lot of things geared for homeschool. Another thing that I just finished up yesterday was a new program that I had just tried it, and it's called PE Pals, and it was geared towards homeschooled kiddos that need to, get out there and do something physical for their physical education. And that was actually a very good turnout. People were asking if we were going to do it again for the month of May, and extend the program. And unfortunately, we couldn't do that right now just because of everything going on with summer and stuff. But now I know that that's a really big ask, a really big want. And so we'll more than likely bring it back for the fall. So yeah, I'm definitely trying to get input. We have surveys attached to all of our summer camps now, just to see what kids want, see if adults want anything different. One thing with the adults that I have been adding, I noticed that pickleball a couple of years ago was becoming really big and popular. So we started doing a little bit more pickleball. I did a pickleball league. I had a pickleball tournament, and those are actually really big. And so, yeah, I would say I definitely have been, talking to the community just to see what they want. And I'm grateful that I have, the freedom here to kind of do, like, say somebody brought something, an idea that we had never tried here at all before. I have the freedom to be able to actually give it a shot. My bosses are very encouraging, and they're like, yeah, if you think it'll work, let's do it.
Fantastic. Now, do they ever rope you in for special events or anything?
Absolutely, yeah. It started with, some of the special events that were just all hands on deck. We have a small team here with our Parks and Rec department. And so sometimes, like, our 4th of July Jubilee event that we have is a very big event, and that's an all hands on deck. You're not getting out of it at all unless you are in the hospital. We like to say, if your house burns down or you're giving birth or anything, like, you're going to be there at that event. And so that's kind of how it started initially. And then, as we've been growing, we're having more events that we are creating and doing. And so I'm helping with those as well. And then I wanted to dabble more within special events specifically. So I created one of my own special events. And this year was our second year doing it. And so it was actually pretty great. It was an inclusive event called Together We Play, geared towards, all abilities, all ages, adaptable programming and whatnot. And that was pretty great too. So yeah, definitely trying to get my feet into more of the special events aspect.
So let's dig a little into your why. Why do you continue to dedicate your life to Parks and Recreation, and how is it fulfilling for you?
Gosh, my why, again, it's just going back to the community. I feel very passionately about creating a space where anybody in the community that I'm working for feels seen, they feel heard, they feel included, they feel safe coming to all of our programs and events that we have to offer. I know that they're going to get something out of the experience. And so that is a very, very big reason of my why. That is, yeah. And then, kind of to go off of that as well, when I started working for the City of San Antonio, I saw that City of San Antonio is completely different. It'll always have a near and dear place in my heart because, working with some of those kids, they're a little bit more underprivileged, and they don't have access to a lot of programs, doing things that are fun. They don't really have much money to do any of these things. And so all of the programs that we offer with the City of San Antonio were free. And so kids were able to come into the facilities and, do these programs. And so I saw firsthand, just how much it meant to them that they could be able to come to the facility and engage in any of these programs. And so I know there's a need. It'll help kids. It'll help not even just kids. It helps the adults get out too. I'm going to go into a little story here with my adult social league. So when I started pickleball, we have it to where you can sign up as a team or you can sign up as a free agent and we'll put you together with somebody. And this one gentleman, he's an older gentleman, and he joined as a free agent, and they have their first day of pickleball, and he plays with his teammate, and I'm out there, and I guess after his game, he's walking toward me, and he just looks very angry, and so I'm like, oh goodness, what is he gonna say? But he comes up to me and he says, I just want to thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to come out here and play. He's like, it's not like I live alone. I don't talk to anybody. I stay inside. He's like, now I have the opportunity to come out and communicate and engage with not just people that are my age, but young adults. This is great. I feel alive again. And so that right there, I was like, oh, sorry, you're going to make me cry. It was so, it makes it all worth it for sure.
Yeah, and I know that's why a lot of people stay in the industry is the impact that they have on their community. But you get to see real life stories that, like you mentioned, that really makes it all worthwhile.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, so I'd like to have you give a sales pitch for the industry. If you were sitting in front of a group of college kids that were undecided and didn't know what they wanted to do with the rest of their life, particularly know about Parks and Recreation, what would be your testimony to them and why they should consider this as a good path?
Oh man, I think I would tell them, if you're looking for a job that is rewarding in all aspects, where you get to have fun, you can stay physically active, I would say, then, look into Parks and Recreation. You're going to have a huge impact on the community, whichever community you're working in. And it's going to be fun. There's not many jobs where you can say you go to work and you're having fun. Most of the time it's just you go in, clock out, just to collect a paycheck. Where here, we don't. I don't think anybody in Parks and Recreation is necessarily in it for the money,
Right.
because there's not much money really involved. But it's very rewarding. So it definitely evens out in that way. So yeah, I think that would kind of be my sales pitch.
Yeah.
Having fun, staying active, making an impact all together.
Yeah. And I think this generation coming up is a little bit more focused. Maybe you can comment on this, but it feels like they're a little more focused on quality of life. Are they making a difference? I mean, of course, everybody needs a paycheck for their bills and stuff, but they just don't want to be working exclusively for a paycheck. They like to know that their work is meaningful. Do you get kind of that
Yeah.
new generation coming in?
Yeah, I definitely do. And I think it's like, I feel like people now are looking more for a, work-life balance,
Mhm.
and having a healthy personal life, and not just, working your life away just to collect money, retire early or anything like that. Like, people want to have a healthy work-life balance. They want to be able to enjoy the life that they're living right now. And I definitely see that a lot with this generation, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're at the halfway point. Let me go ahead and thank our show sponsors today.
Yeah.
Our two show sponsors today are Outdoor Link and the National Academy of Athletics. Outdoor Link is one of those companies that helps you become a smart city. So if you have a smart home where everything's controlled by your cell phone, lights, air conditioning, garage door, imagine your whole city was a smart city. You could turn on all your sports good lights and your splash pads and bathroom door locks. And so they help us. They help Parks and Rec departments do this across the country. So if you want to learn more about that, hit me up on LinkedIn, or I'll get you in touch with Dave Ramirez. He's kind of the head guy over there. And the National Academy of Athletics, they actually do a Thursday show, and they've been doing that for, gosh, I think over a year now. But Aaron is just a master when it comes to rec sports and has been doing that for 40 years. And he gets some of the best professional athletes, athletic directors, coaches, referees, stuff like that. And their company will help you run any program that you say aren't really geared up to run. So if you want to do flag football or lacrosse or volleyball and you're really staffed for it, they can kind of run all that for you. Or they can run the entire thing turnkey, from after school care to summer programs, anything like that. And so, Jovi, why don't you go ahead and run those two promos real quick, and we'll come right back and finish up our conversation with Sydney.
In today's parks and recreation industry, communication, safety, and efficiency go hand in hand. That's where Outdoor Link comes in, delivering smart technology that empowers city departments and community planners to do more, smarter. Outdoor Link's platform connects and automates everything that keeps your parks running smoothly, from lighting and locks to signage, water features, Wi-Fi, and digital advertising. Control and schedule park lights for safety and energy savings. Remotely manage facility access. Coordinate fountains and splash pads. Provide public connectivity. All from one simple, unified platform, giving you real-time control, data, and cost efficiency. For parks and recreation agencies, that means safer spaces, smarter resource use, faster responses, and stronger community engagement. And behind every great park story is great infrastructure. That's why Outdoor Link proudly supports DPRS Media Company, helping the daily Parks and Rec show amplify the voices of professionals shaping our communities every day. Outdoor Link, smart, connected solutions for parks, recreation, and beyond.
They say it's just rec. Just rec, where kids learn to try again. Just rec, where confidence begins. Where teamwork, effort, and fun matter more than trophies. It's not about perfection. It's about participation. It's not just rec. It's where kids learn to love the game and themselves. It's just rec until they learn teamwork for life. It's just rec, but it's everything to them. It's more than rec, it's a movement. It's just rec until you realize it's shaping the next generation. Together, we're not just running programs, we're building a culture of confidence, connection, and community. Join us.
All right, so let's dig into what you've done as far as with TRAPS and NRPA. What's been your involvement with those two organizations?
So I will say I've had more involvement within TRAPS than I have with NRPA. That's just because, I mean, I barely got to go for my first time this past year in Orlando, which was great. But I'm definitely heavily involved with our state association. And so when I first started working with the City of Schertz, it was maybe like a couple months before that state conference was about to happen. And so my bosses are very heavily involved. And so just kind of seeing them and their involvement, and then them kind of like nudging me to go on and get involved as well. My first involvement was with the Future Young Professional branch. I went in and volunteered to be, I think we called it the student rep at the time. And I was in that seat for the first year. And then I moved on to being our Central Region representative because we're in the Central Region. And I did that for a couple of years. And now I am the volunteer coordinator. So this year is actually going to be my second year doing it. I did it last year, which was essentially kind of, coordinating all of the volunteers that we have that serve as room hosts, the ones that help vendors kind of set up in the vendor hall, and all of that. And so that was a pretty great experience. And then I'm also involved in our region specifically on the planning committees for our regional conference and whatnot that happened before state conference. And the experience has been absolutely amazing. You don't realize just what all and how much goes into planning any of these conferences, or even the volunteers too. You never know like just how many people it takes to run all of this, and it's been insane. But yeah, so lots of involvement, and it's all just from a nudge from my boss.
Wow.
She was like, go get involved, do something. And so yeah, any aspect, I'm trying to learn and absorb all of it. So
Now, how many volunteers do y'all usually have for TRAPS?
oh, I think we had around like 23, 25. And that's with a lot of the volunteers doing at least 10 hours, I believe, which is the minimum to get them their free registration. And so they're doing multiple sessions as room host, because we have a lot of sessions that needed the room host. And then we like to have at least 2 people per session. But we have all of the volunteers that are doing at least like, I want to say maybe like 5 sessions each. And so around like 23, 25, I guess altogether maybe 30, because we also include our Future Young Professional branch, our leadership branch, because we are also supposed to volunteer as well, as part of our being on the leadership team. So
Yeah. Now, where are the volunteers kind of coming from? Are they high school, or are they kind of kids in Parks and Rec, or other departments that just are kind of trying to get a free ticket there, so they're just volunteers so they can attend?
yeah, so kind of both. We do reach out to some of the colleges that have kids that are majoring in any Parks and Recreation field or anything related to that. And so just for the experience for them to come, they'll register, they'll volunteer. And then a lot, I would have to say, is for people that are trying to actually attend conference because their city doesn't really have the budget to send them, or they send so many people, so they don't have a budget for, more than maybe like 10 people to attend. So we do get a lot of professionals that are volunteering. That way they can, earn their way to attend.
Okay, so tell me more about the future young professionals. How long has that been around? And kind of for somebody that doesn't know anything about it, how would you describe it? And what do y'all do throughout the year?
I'm not entirely sure how long it's been established. I know the Facebook page does date back to like 2020.
Mhm.
So it's been there for a little while. I had no idea what the Future and Young Professional branch was until I came to the city of San Antonio, the City of Schertz, and got involved in everything. And so I've been here for involved with the Future and Young Professional branch for about 3 years now, 3.5 years. And so I would say like the key aspect of the branch in general is to, gain the input, get our young professionals to get involved and passionate about what the Parks and Recreation field is in general. Getting them to actually commit and see that this is a career that would definitely be great for your entire career path. Not just kind of like a stepping stone or anything. We help with bridging the gap with the communication for not only just younger professionals, but also, the generation that we are going to soon replace as well. Trying to get the advice and as much networking as we can with our older professionals that we have that are just going to kind of like sprinkle down all of the bits of wisdom that they have, words of advice and whatnot. So we're trying to create those connections in both ways. Young professionals as well as our mentors and people that we're going to be replacing. And then also we kind of foster like a sense of community. We have our network that we can kind of, lean on, bounce ideas off of. We share job postings. If we know that we have, a candidate that we think would be a very great fit for a certain role, we're sharing it to them. We're sharing it in our group me that we have, just trying to stay connected and whatnot.
Mm. Now, I know I often hear that networking is so important. So if you're attending traps for the first time and you're either a young professional or just kind of new to the industry, you've never been to traps, what are kind of the tricks you use to kind of make sure that you're networking with people or attending nighttime events? What advice would you give for somebody who's doing this for the first time?
I would say find a buddy.
Mm.
Definitely find a buddy, because chances are that buddy you have has connections with at least 3 other people. And then as you meet those 3 people, you befriend them and they have 3 more connections that they can introduce you to. And that's kind of how the networking, snowballs. So definitely try to find a buddy. And we do a really good job of before conference, we'll create a conference FNYP group chat or group me. And so anybody that's attending that's a young professional can join the group me. And we try to meet up as much as we can. And so we can kind of use that as a clutch as well. If somebody's going to be over here in this session, you can go and automatically find that face, find that buddy right there. So you're not alone. But networking is definitely a very, very huge thing when it comes to the conferences. I'd probably argue that it's maybe a little bit more important than the actual education sessions itself, just because I feel like you learn so much more through your connections, and it's you get to talk to those people one-on-one, like right there in person. So I'd say networking is a very, very big aspect of the conference.
Yeah. So where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years or the rest of your career? Do you kind of like want to stay in the recreation side, or do you maybe want to move up in leadership? Kind of, where do you see yourself?
That's a hard one. I definitely feel like within the next like 5 to 10 years, I'm definitely wanting to be in a manager position for sure. Um, but I mean, if that takes me into, you know, maybe some athletics, or maybe it takes me to aquatics, I'm not opposed to that. I definitely think that, you know, getting experience in other divisions of Parks and Recreation is important as well. It just helps you kind of become a little bit more well-rounded. So whatever position that takes me, I at least see it to be as like a manager position, at least, you know.
Do you see yourself going
Mhm.
to pursue like a master's or doing any more education or any type of certification?
Yeah, so I mean, I have my CPRB,
Mhm.
and so I definitely do want to try to get my CPRE. I have heard that that's a very, very difficult one to attain, but you know, I'm up for the challenge, and so probably here within the next few years, I'll definitely dedicate some time to study up and, you know, try to get that certification.
Yeah, I've heard that's challenging too, and I think there's like less than 1,000 nationwide that have achieved that. So
Is there? Oh man.
yeah, it's a pretty elite group. I'd say go for it.
I'm definitely up for the challenge. That's one thing. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna try. I've even tried, or I've even thought about getting my God, what is it? I think CPSI, which is another one that I've heard is pretty challenging. But if anything, just for the knowledge of having it, you know, you can learn a lot by, you know, actually studying and taking
Right.
that exam as well. And it's just great knowledge to have in your back pocket. But I've even, yeah, thought about trying to go for that one as well.
Yeah. All right. So one of the things we like to do on this show is, um, there's so many elected officials that have no idea what y'all do for the community, and they are the ones that kind of make sure y'all get funded, or push a lot of the programs, um, or maybe even build facilities and stuff. So how would you explain to an elected official the value of what it is y'all do for your community, and why the work y'all do is so essential to the community?
Good question. I mean, I would think I would try to explain it in the fact of um, we like kind of really lean into the community engagement part.
Mhm.
You know, just because that's where you're going to see the impact of having these facilities, the impact of having these expanded programs, these big special events that of course are costing money, but it's having a huge impact on the lives, the wellness of everybody around you. And so I think I would probably come at it, you know, in that aspect. You know, it's not just a right then and there happy face. You know, it's a lasting feeling, a lasting memory that everybody is going to have, not just a one-time thing. You
Mhm.
know.
Now, is there one program, or is there a, I don't know, special event, something that you'd like to bring to your community that you've seen but you haven't done yet?
Mm, we are very in the Parks and Recreation. We're very big on, you know, don't reinvent the wheel. You know,
Mhm.
take ideas from where you can. And so, one very great idea that I have seen done by the city of Cedar Park is, you know, you have your traditional 5Ks. They do a half K,
Ah,
and it is geared. It is, I forget exactly what they call it, but it's geared towards, you know, the ones that aren't runners. You know, they just want to have a leisure walk in the park. And so along the course of their 1K or half K, they have you know, couches. They have different
ah,
activities that you can engage in, where it's like fishing. You know, they have donuts at some stops, and it's like you get an award for being completing it the slowest, in a sense. You know, you're enjoying the walk, you're enjoying the event itself. You know, you're not trying to finish it super fast or anything like that. So I thought that was pretty clever. And so that would be one thing that I think our community would definitely, you know, find the humor, but also find the fun in it as well.
mhm.
And so I think that's probably something that I would love to bring here.
Yes, I would love to attend that one. I recently did the Crescent City Classic. It was a 10K, And I decided I was just going to walk it because it goes through some of the most beautiful parts of New Orleans. And I was just in the back, trying to see who could finish last. But I really enjoyed it, just kind of walking through the whole city. It was beautiful, and I wasn't in a big rush. I wasn't trying to break any kind of record or anything. And I think I enjoyed it more than any other year that I've run it.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're just taking it all in.
All right. So if you had like an unlimited budget for one thing that you'd like to build, what would it be?
Ooh, that's an easy one. I would love to build just an all-inclusive kind of like rec space.
Mhm.
So not just a rec facility where it's like indoors and you have your traditional, courts, you have classrooms where you can do your programs, a functional gym as well. But then on the outdoor aspect, you have your sand volleyball courts right there. You have access to a couple of, baseball fields where we can do, kickball, or you can do leagues for or youth baseball or softball or anything like that. I mean, all of it's kind of included. That's one thing that we don't necessarily have here in Schertz is a rec facility that's specifically for recreation purposes. And so I think that would be a very, very huge, huge thing that I would love to add here.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's good. Now, how do you keep yourself involved in Parks and Rec? Or do you actually use the facilities, or do you use any of the programs or anything like that?
Um, I don't necessarily participate in any of our programs. If I was allowed, I would definitely take part in our adult social leagues.
Mhm.
I'm a sports girly, so I would love to get out there, play some kickball, love to get out there, play some softball. Constantly having our adult league participants asking me, "Hey, we're short somebody. Can you jump in and fill in and play?" And I'm not allowed. But if I was allowed, that's one thing I would definitely try to partake in. Um, but I mean, I have played sand volleyball with the City of New Braunfels in their leagues. So if I am participating in any of the Parks and Recreation things, it's definitely going to be sport related for sure. It's how I get my physical activity in. So yeah.
Yeah. Now, how do you do anything to kind of develop yourself as a leader? I don't know if you like have any YouTube channels or any books that you read just to kind of sharpen the saw and kind of help you to develop yourself personally.
I do like listening to podcasts. Reckless is definitely a big one
Oh yeah,
that
that's
I
right.
like to listen to. Yes, absolutely. Lots and lots of great nuggets to take out of each and every conversation that they have. Um, so I'm doing podcasts. I'm always trying to find some way to attend a conference if I can, to attend those educational sessions. And so I've gone out for lots of different scholarships and opportunities that I can to, get, some money that would help pay my way to those conferences and whatnot. So I'm always trying to do that. And then we have our City of Schertz leadership program that the city offers, and I did take part in that last year as well. Oh, actually, a couple of years ago.
Mm,
Yeah, time flies.
yeah.
But I did take part in that. That was a year-long program that we did, where it's kind of the same as the Leadership Academy that we're doing with Traps. I'm also in that one right now, currently. And so learning from Dr. Michael Landlord is great. But yeah, I did that with our city program that we had. So I'm always, whatever opportunities kind of arise, if I know about it, I'm definitely gonna try. If
Mm,
there's an opportunity to grab a mentor anywhere, I'm gonna apply for that as well.
mm.
So definitely still trying to invest and learn from anybody that is willing to teach, willing to take the time to talk to me.
Yeah. Tell me more about the Leadership Academy. How did you discover that, and how long have you been involved in that?
So the Leadership Academy, it just started. We had our kickoff orientation at this past Traps, which was in February, and so it just started. We'll actually have our second, I guess, session coming up here in a few weeks. Going to Louisville for a couple of days, and so that's where we'll have one of our sessions. But I learned about it through my manager, actually, because she was in the academy a few years ago. And so, I mean, I've heard nothing but great things, not only from the learning aspect, but from the relationship you build with your cohort, the people that you're in your leadership class with. And so when she told me about it, told me about the big impact that it had on, her and her cohort's life, I was like, I definitely have to be part of that. And so I will say, I tried the first time and I didn't get in, but very persistent. So I tried again. Yeah, I was able to get in. And so I've heard about it from tons and tons of people that have gone through the program already, and I've heard nothing but great things. And from my experience so far, it has been nothing short of great. So
fantastic. Okay, so as we kind of come to the end of the show, we have a tradition that we do where our previous guests kind of left a question. This is kind of a fun one from Richard Bentley over in Covington, Louisiana. He says, and actually I have two questions for you. Are you into like football or soccer or anything like that? Okay, that's kind of how I am too. So one of my guests was
I'll listen sometimes, but
right. They were like, "How'd your NFL team do?" And I'm like, "I barely know which NFL teams in my city." And he knows like all the stats and every of the players, and they got this one. So I said, "All right, I'll throw it up there." But not everybody is like follows all the sports. Okay, so if you were making your own nachos, how would you make them?
Ooh, making my own nachos.
Like, what would you put on them?
Oh, they're going to be loaded. They're going to be loaded for sure. We're going to have some beans, some melted cheese. We're going to have some chicken fajita, I would say. Maybe some French fries on there. Got to have some pico, sour cream for sure, and a little spicy salsa. Got to have a little bit of spice in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're going to be loaded.
You could tell you're from the San Antonio area. It's like staple over there. Yeah, Miss San Antonio. I used to go there every summer to visit my grandma. They had the best tamales, and they're everywhere. And I don't know what it is, how they make them there. They're just not as good anywhere else.
That gave me another idea for nachos. Some crushed up tamales just right on top of the nachos.
There you go.
With some cheese over it. Yep, there's an idea right there. Gotta try it.
Oh, I love it. So the other question is, if you were a piece of playground equipment, what would it be and why?
Ooh. I would probably be a swing. I love a good swing. You're just free flying. I personally, when I'm on a swing, I love the feel of, getting butterflies. If you like swing up super high and you close your eyes, you get little butterflies in your feeling. So I would love to give that feeling to somebody else that's using the swing. So yeah, I would say I'd have to be a swing. Yeah,
and I would hope that more Parks and Rec department would install like these bigger adult swings that are probably not safe. That would be a blast.
I think if we had adult swings, we would definitely be trying to go all the way around.
Yes, absolutely. We would try. There would probably need to be an ambulance on standby, but we would go for it. So what question would you like to leave from our next guest?
I think, let's see. Let's go with, what is their biggest win of the year so far?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
What is your biggest? I'm curious what your answer is to that one.
My biggest win, I would say, was making it into the Leadership Academy. That is by far right now my biggest win. It was a very big goal of mine that I had, just because I know I can get so much out of the program. And so getting into it and starting the Leadership Academy, I think, yeah, definitely for sure takes the cake so far.
Yeah, well, congratulations on that win. I'm sure there's many more to come in your career.
Hopefully.
Well, Sydney, thank you so much for coming on the show today and sharing your story. And good luck hosting all those volunteers for TRAPS and working with the future young professionals. I know we've got I think we're in good hands. We got a great generation coming into Parks and Rec as future leaders. So appreciate all the work that you're doing there.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for having me. I definitely appreciate you, giving me the time to come up and, share my story. It's been awesome. It's been an experience.
Yeah. Well, thank you for serving your community, and hope you have a great rest of your week. Have a great day.
You too. Have a good one.
Take care, Sydney.
Bye.
All right. So that was another great episode of the Young Professionals Network. I think everyone is starting to see that we are in good hands. I know the work is never done when it comes to getting the word out among college students, nurturing future young professionals, always trying to lift the industry up so that people can know that this is a great career path that you can dedicate your life to. I think of all the careers that I've even heard about, Parks and Rec has got to be one where the people in Parks and Rec just find the job that they're doing so fulfilling because they see that they're giving back to their community and they're making a difference. And they're doing this in their young years, in their 20s and 30s, the best years of their lives. They're really giving back and making a difference and really creating a legacy. So Parks and Rec, I think, is just a great career choice for anyone. So if you're listening to this and you're a college kid and you had never heard of Parks and Recreation, you should definitely look into it. And there's no shortage of opportunity to volunteer, whether you're like a coach or work in a special event. There's always ways to get exposure. So definitely reach out to your local Parks and Rec department and see how you can join in and join the movement of Parks and Recreation. All right, so that's all we have for y'all today. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow. We have our first Friday show, a leadership series, with our newest host, Jonathan Skinner, the legendary Jonathan Skinner from California. And then that's immediately followed by at 1:30 p.m. Eastern time with our host, Wesley King, the Aquatics Life, all things aquatics. And so if you know anyone that's in aquatics, definitely have them tune into that show because Wesley is just an encyclopedia. Has dedicated his entire life to aquatics and just does such a great job presenting all the things that it means to run and launch and prepare your pool and the chemicals. And I mean, it just goes on and on and on. So I can't wait to do another show with him tomorrow. So that's all we have for y'all today. Y'all have a great rest of your day. We'll see y'all here tomorrow. Thanks a lot, guys. Love you. Bye.
In the parks and recreation industry, attention is limited, but influence is everything. Every day, thousands of parks and recreation professionals make critical decisions. Decisions on infrastructure, programs, technology, and vendors. The question is your brand part of that conversation? DPRS Media Network was built to answer that question. We are a dedicated media ecosystem focused exclusively on the parks and recreation industry in the United States. Through a network of daily and weekly shows, we inform, connect, and influence this audience. Our distribution spans multiple platforms: LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, X, Instagram, plus email campaigns, newsletters, podcasts, and live event coverage. This is not a single-channel strategy. It is a multi-platform media engine. Today, our network reaches over 214,000 connections, including 51,000 on LinkedIn, 64,000 on Facebook, nearly 40,000 email subscribers, and thousands more across podcast and social platforms. While some audiences overlap, our true value is not just reach, it is relevance. We speak directly to parks and recreation directors, program managers, and industry leaders, an audience that is highly targeted and actively engaged. Through DPRS Media Network, your brand integrates seamlessly into this ecosystem. Through sponsored show segments, targeted advertisement placements, podcast features, and host-read promotions, even custom branded content. Not as interruptions, but as part of the conversation. And we don't just operate online. We attend over 15 major parks and recreation conventions each year, reaching more than 24,000 professionals in person. Through live shows, interviews, and on-site media coverage, we position our partners at the center of the industry. Every piece of content we produce is amplified across our entire network. Multiple shows, multiple hosts, multiple platforms. Your message doesn't appear once, it multiplies. This is more than advertising. It is strategic positioning within a trusted media network built specifically for the parks and recreation industry. If your goal is to reach decision makers, build credibility, and stay top of mind, then it's time to partner with DPRS Media Network. Apply for partnership or sponsorship today. Let's position your brand where the industry is already paying attention.
Are you a vendor, brand, or service provider ready to connect with the heartbeat of local communities? At DPRS Media Co., we tell the stories shaping parks and recreation across America. Through podcasts, live streams, videos, and newsletters, we reach frontline leaders, city directors, and decision makers every single week. From youth sports and facilities to programming and policy, our audience is your audience. Sponsoring or partnering with DPRS Media Co. puts your brand in front of the professionals who build, budget, and buy for their communities. Launching a new product, growing your presence in public spaces, targeting cities, counties, or departments, DPRS is your trusted media partner. Whether you're in software, turf, aquatics, robotics, smart cities, or special events, partnering with DPRS puts your brand in the story. With commercials, interviews, social campaigns, newsletters, and live shows, we're your media team. Partner with us and grow your impact in the $200 billion parks and rec industry. DPRS Media Co. Stories that move parks and rec forward. Your audience is here. Let's meet them.